Thank you. So, Hare Krishna devotees, so anybody would like to share what they got from any of the previous sessions? Anything they remember? One or two points that they remember? That will be nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Devi.
Uh, Main thing in your first lecture, you said this body is made of 5 basic material elements and nothing. We came without anything, and our body will like go in earth only or in fire. And this is our soul only to which we have to nourish it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the main point which I liked it, that
Mm-hmm.
we have to nourish our soul, not our body all the time. Though we have to nourish our body to keep us healthy,
Mm-hmm.
but side by side we have to nourish our soul also.
Wow, very nice one. Very foundational point you shared. Thank you for sharing that point. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to share something they remember from any of the last three sessions? So it will be good recap for others who may not have joined like that also.
I can share something with you.
Yes, Prabhu, Neelesh Prabhuji.
So I in the last session we learned about karma, and I was one of these people who thought that karma was what we get from all the previous accumulation of our lives. But then I realized from the last session that yeah, you have karma coming forward, but you have the ability to change your future once you understand the karmic account or the idea of karma. So there is a choice. It's not like you're fixed with whatever's happening to you day in and day out. You have the ability to like understand what is happening to you, good or bad, and then you can move forward in a way of choosing of your doing.
Wow, very nice way you put it, Prabhu. Yes, absolutely. So this is the way, this knowledge is not just theory. It helps us now to make choices in the future. Wonderful, Prabhu. Yeah. And that we can change through Bhakti Yoga, we can change our karma also. Karma is not eternal. Yeah. That's an amazing point. Thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else would like to share something that they remember from the last three sessions? Anything?
Yeah,
Yes,
Hare
Mati.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mati.
Hare Krishna. To that point, right? So we are all busy in our daily lives. We get forgetful because like we do so many chores, right? So even though like whatever chore we are doing, like driving, cooking, cleaning, eating, we should always do sadhana on God's name, Hare Krishna, internally, right? With the help of this sadhana, we can reduce our bad karma, and the effect of the karma that we carry will be reduced. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Very nice point, Mati. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about spiritual sadhana is, even if I do my sadhana early in the morning when I'm doing my chanting, so when I'm staying attentive to that sadhana right at that time, it helps throughout the day. Even if you're not saying Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it will be in background. Krishna will be in the background like that. And over time, all our activities we dedicate to Krishna, to please Krishna. Over the time, we can change that consciousness also. Very nice. Thank you for sharing, Sarvanimati. Anybody else remember anything else from the last three sessions that they liked, or something they're applying in their life, or something they're struggling to apply in their life? No? Okay. No worries. So I can do a quick recap of few. Is there anybody on the call who did not attend any of the three sessions by any chance? Or everyone attended all three sessions? Sounds like good. So then I will do a quick recap only, not detail. Let me pull up that presentation. Yeah. You can see the screen? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. So basically, there's a nice way rather His Grace Radhashyam Prabhu put it. So overall, these four sessions, in the first session also I talked about this thing. Overall, in the four sessions, this is what we're foundationally we're getting from these four sessions. That way, we understand the overall gist of Bhagavad Gita before we dive deep into it. So first aspect is that G, this is acronym GITA like that, right? So G is God. That we're not all in all. There's a God in control. We heard about this in the second session from Harinam Kirtan Prabhu. Yeah. Some people think we are God, nobody else. I'm everything like that. So that's not the way. There's a God in control with everything like that. Now, this is the first session we covered on. Like Veena Mataji shared about. I is identity. That means we don't consider this material body is all in all, but there's a spirit soul that exists. We are actually spirit soul. That is our real identity. And then the last session, third session, Padma Kumari Mataji took. The focus was at this transmigration. That means this one lifetime that we are in right now is not all in all. There are many more lifetimes exist unless we transcend them and go back to spiritual world. So that is a principle we learned in the last session. Now, this session and one more session will cover is the aim of life or the last portion, which is some people think the material world is all in all, everything we have. But the spiritual world also exists beyond this material world like that. So that's the fourth aspect. So we covered the first three about how God is in control, how we are a spirit soul, and then what happens at the end of this life, what is in our control, what is not in our control, how can we how can we ensure we have a better destination like that. So I see in the notes, Kiran Prabhu could not attend the third session. Yeah, you'll get something from the recap also. I'll give a little more detail. So that will be good. And then, yeah. So these are four things I wanted to cover. So now let's go to a quick recap of the three sessions so far now. So first session was like I described. It's about identity. What is the eternal truth like that? This is the quick summary page for the first session we had. I will not go into all the details. That will take another 1 hour. So essentially, first section was, am I really this body or am I spirit soul? So we understood we're not bunch of chemicals that have very limited value. We're beyond that, like that. We understood the difference between body and the soul, how soul is eternal versus body is temporary, how soul has consciousness, body doesn't have consciousness. Like that, we explored few understandings. And then we explored further. After understanding that we are spirit soul, we also understood because of the spirit soul inside the body, there are different things happening in the body. There are 6 changes that are happening in the body we discussed. And then we discussed how a robot doesn't have a consciousness. Robot doesn't have emotions. Like that we discussed. And we discussed how we as a spirit soul has 2 coverings. First covering is the subtle body that is made of mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then a gross body that we are seeing right now that is made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, like that we discussed. And then now, how do we really understand evidence that there's really soul? We're not just body. That we talked about scientific way of understanding in 4 different directions, as you see here. One is from common sense perspective. When somebody passes away, we'll say he passed away. The body is still lying there. If he's body, then why will you say he passed away? Like that, in common sense way we understood. And then from consciousness perspective, we understood a living person has a consciousness, whereas a dead body or matter doesn't have consciousness, like that. And we heard about the real life examples of near death experiences and out of body experiences, where somebody experiences from beyond the body what is happening to the body, like that. And then we also heard about reincarnation studies done by psychologist, I believe, in the University of Virginia. So, wherein it's clearly shown that somebody has past life memories and somebody has skills very early in the life that they didn't get training at all, but still they know it already. How is that possible? You might have seen videos in the internet also. Sometimes somebody shares a video wherein somebody takes a box and they play like harmonium, small boy. They didn't get any harmonium training, they didn't see any harmonium, but they learn it like that. And somebody has a special skill, like we discussed in one of the sessions, first session, I think, that one girl was born in a very rich family, but then she had the skill to make roof of the huts. She never got exposed in the rich family to making a roof of a hut or anything like that, but she got that skill from past life somehow. So like that, that's all proving the existence of spirit soul, like that. And then towards the end, we discussed about the mechanism of the mind, how the hierarchy of senses are lower. Beyond that is the mind is superior, and above that is intelligence. Above that is the spirit soul, like that. And then if we control our mind, mind can become our best friend. If our mind is not controlled, then mind will become a worst enemy also. Like that. And then we discussed about the Gigo principle. Water, if garbage comes inside through the senses to the mind, then garbage only goes out, because water inside comes out, right? But if we ensure that good goes inside through our senses, knowledge acquiring senses especially, then good comes out also, like that. And then we heard about the practical benefits of the knowledge of the soul, like how we'll treat everyone equally, everyone respectfully, understanding that we're all connected with each other because we all have connection to one Supreme Lord, like that. And then we rise above the inferiority complex or superiority complex with the right understanding of the spirit soul. And then no matter what situation happens, what suffering comes, what distressful situation comes in our life, we can still maintain a positive outlook and hope in life. And the optimistic attitude we can maintain with positive thoughts always. That's the result of knowledge of the spirit soul, of eternality of the spirit soul, like that. And then naturally we utilize the resources properly instead of only in hoarding all the things in a selfish manner. We start to utilize resources for others' benefit and in service of God, like that. Those are the few practical benefits of knowledge of soul. This is the first session recap what we did. These are a couple of slides from the first session. So is how the body is not just a bunch of chemicals, is beyond that, we're a spirit soul. And then moving on to the second session, where we learnt about how we're not all in all, but there's a God who is in control, like that. So in this session, I have a few slides for this thing. This is the summary slides of that whole session. So we looked at it from our observation perspective, our observation of the environment around us. How can we conclude God exists? First is there are beautiful artwork done around us, flowers with beautiful, beautiful colors, beautiful designs, like that, a natural sunrise, sunset. All this implies there's an artist behind that artistry that is there. And then beautiful organization is there around us. That implies an organizer. And the creation implies there is a creator. Nothing comes out by a bomb explosion. Something beautiful doesn't come, which is very organized way. So like that, any design implies there's a designer behind it, like that. There's a person behind everything that we see, like that. So energy implies there's energetic, and then there are laws of karma that we discussed in the third session also in elaborate. So the laws are perfect. Somebody can escape police by doing cheating right now, but they cannot escape laws of karma. So that is a controlled by lawmaker, which is supreme law, like that. And then we discussed many scientists who made observations that there's a God, there's a person, there's something or someone behind this, all the things running. So that is we discussed so many scientists' observation how they confirm that there's a creator or somebody beyond this supreme Lord, like that. And then we discussed finally the $2 million questions: who created the universe, the role of the intelligent design in the creation, and then what is the purpose of the creation? Is to love Supreme Lord, to know the Supreme Lord, and love each other also. And then we had an activity of discussing between national government, like how what happens in the government in this world right now, and how the whole universe is running, like that. And we finally discussed about the prime duty of a human being. We'll go into a little bit more detail. I have a few slides here. So these again same sections, but the essence I wanted to capture here is by observing the world around us scientifically, we can see that there is a hand of an intelligent designer, Supreme Lord, like that. That's the essence of that section, whole section. And by our observation, we talked about this. By observation, by looking at the left-hand side, we can understand there is a person behind them. That is a Supreme Lord, like that. And then the $2 million questions we talked about is how there's intelligent design. Uh, Intelligent design implies there is a Supreme Lord who is behind that intelligent design. That is the origin of the universe, like that. That is the Vedic view, as opposed to the contemporary view we discussed in that session. And then what is the purpose of this creation, and what is the purpose of our life itself? To understand God and to understand life. We talked about that is higher intelligence that is given to us to understand this purpose of life like that. So, so that is a other aspect. Now, also, this was an important principle. Uh, when we know that God is there, then we are there, and this matter around us, material nature is there. Is there a relation? So, is there a relation between these three? What is the relation between these three? If we understand this principle properly, then we don't get into misconceptions, understanding that I am God or everything is God, like that. So, the simple principle shown here is, first of all, we as spirit, soul, jiva, we desire something to happen. And then, just because I desire, I cannot move my hand unless it's sanctioned by Supreme Lord, number one. So if Supreme Lord sanctions, then material nature makes that hand movement happen like that. So all the three are playing a role in this. And I am playing a role in desiring. Supreme Lord is playing a role in sanctioning it. Because if I don't have if I don't have sufficient pious creeds, Supreme Lord will not sanction it also. Supreme Lord may not sanction it also, but Supreme Lord can sanction also if he wants to. That is why he is beyond the laws of karma, beyond the material laws like that. And then material nature facilitates that fulfillment of desire like that. So now the last section, I said I will elaborate because this is the essence of that whole section for us. After understanding God, so how are we supposed to conduct our life? What is our prime duty as a human being then? One is when we are appreciating the creation of the God, we appreciate the presence of God behind that creation like that. So that's how we can connect everything that we see with the source of creation, which is Supreme Lord like that. That's how we can use our intelligence to appreciate the creation of God like that. And another thing is, we can see the beautiful creations. Like one example you saw in that session probably is that about Fibonacci numbers and how uh, Fibonacci numbers that a mathematician showed, how they're connected to the whole design of things like that. So that way we can appreciate God's wonderful creation like that. So now another aspect is, once we understand and we are appreciating Lord's creation, and uh, we understand the purpose of Lord's creation, which is to love God and love all others, then we can share that realization with others. That way, we can help others also with the impact. That is the other duty we have as human beings like that. And finally, we are meant to utilize everything we have for the pleasure of God and for the welfare of others like that. Of course, we'll as we go in next sessions, we'll see what is the best welfare of everyone like that, and what's the best welfare activity we can do, which is to help them understand the purpose of life, to help them engage in devotional service like that. That concludes the second session recap. Now going to the third session recap, which was about how this life is not all in all. The next life exists. There's life beyond this life like that. So, in other words, to understand the details of that, to understand the details of the transmigration, how the soul migrates from one body to next body. So we understood the law of karma in detail also in that session, last session. I have a few slides I picked up from that session, so we can go through them. Because there was no summary slide for this slide deck, so I'm kept the section slides also for you, so you can quickly recap. So we talked about where can we find the true happiness. In pursuing this question, we talked about how different levels of happiness are there: physical level happiness in terms of body and senses, mental level happiness in terms of the mind level, and the intellectual happiness in terms of the intelligence level, and then finally spiritual happiness. So if you notice, each of these happiness is at a hierarchical level. Physical happiness is the lowest happiness we can get. Mental happiness is beyond that, is better happiness. Intellectual level is better happiness. Spiritual happiness is better happiness. So better in not only in terms of quantity and quality, but better in terms of permanence also we saw in this session. I'll go through the other slides that will make it clearer. That portion also for you. So we also, before this slide, we also talked about in that session how animals also have intelligence. Human beings also have intelligence, but animals, what do? They use their higher intelligence. Some of the animals have better intelligence than also like that. For example, eagle can see from a very high height like that, but we cannot see so clearly. So, but animals use their intelligence only for these four purposes: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Whereas human beings, we can also use for those purposes: eating, sleeping, and mating and defending. But to but the best thing we can do is to utilize them for these higher purposes, because we have the higher intelligence that animals cannot do these things. What is really causing my suffering? I want to be happy always. But why does we get suffering somehow or other? I don't want suffering, but I'm getting it. And then what is the real purpose of life? So that inquiry is the real purpose of using our human intelligence like that, the higher intelligence that we have. And then once we have higher understanding, then we harmonize our life with God and nature with this higher intelligence like that. And then that is the way we can attain eternal happiness, by utilizing this higher intelligence properly, by understanding the root cause of suffering, by understanding a solution for the suffering, permanent solution, not temporary solution. We talked about in this session also. What is the temporary solution? How they are falling, how they're failing, and that how there's permanent solution for everything. Once we understand with that higher intelligence, we engage in that higher solution like that. So now going into detail, remember we just talked about higher intelligence is utilized to understand the cause of suffering and the purpose of life. So we go into the what is the why am I suffering question as an inquisitive soul. In this session, we talked about how everybody is suffering through problems, and those problems can be in multiple categories. But the problem to be classified as a real problem, these are the three criteria used. One is the problem is common to everybody. Not like I only get this problem, somebody in my neighbor doesn't get this problem. Not like that. The problem that is common to everybody like that. And the problem, nobody wants it. Not like I don't want rain, but my neighbor loves to dance in the rain. So that is not the problem. So something that nobody wants it. And then something nobody can avoid it, even if they want to, even if they have all the money, all the wealth, all the knowledge, all the strength, they cannot avoid it. Those are the criteria for real problem we discussed now. Now, why are we discussing the real problem criteria? Because we want to find out the real cause of suffering. And then once we find out the real problem, we can find the solution for the real problem. Otherwise, I will think I need to sit comfortably. That is the problem of life. So I'll be doing research on how to make a comfortable chair for me to sit properly. But I'm losing my life in that process. But if I find out what are the real problems, then I can focus on solving those real problems instead. That is the reason this criteria is given. And from that criteria, we derived in the last session how the four problems of life are birth, death, old age, and disease. In fact, we went into each of them in detail. Why is it a problem like that also? So once we understand these are the real problems, we need to find out the real solution. Because if I invent a new chair that to sit better, that is not solving the real problems of life. That is why the real problems are important, not just its a theoretical understanding. So now we discuss how, apart from the four real problems, there are three kinds of miseries also. What are the three kinds of miseries? The three kinds of miseries are miseries caused by my own body and mind, miseries caused by other living entities, and miseries caused by natural disturbances. We saw a bunch of examples that describe these real problems, and we saw the Sanskrit names for them also, like this: Adhyatmika Klesha, Adibhautik Klesha, Adidevik Klesha, like that. So we are suffering because of the four real problems of life: birth, death, old age, and disease, and the three miseries. Miseries caused by my own body and mind, miseries caused by other living entities, miseries caused by natural disasters. That we understood is the problem now. Now, to understand the solution, we explored about where do we go after this life? Because we were trying to explore this question. This life is not all in all, there is life beyond this life. So that is what this section we covered like that, about the mysteries of transmigration. Essentially, we talked about how at the time of death, the spirit soul leaves this gross body and takes another body. That is based on the quality of desires we have and the karma that we do also we discussed. This is called transmigration. Moving of the soul from one body to another body is called transmigration. These are two principal criteria of which body we get next. The desires we have at the time of death, and the what is the karma we done, good or bad karma in our account, like that. And then these are some of the examples we've seen. Based on the nature we cultivated in this life, we get the next body like that. We saw some examples like this. And then we also explored a couple of examples about Ajamila and Bharat Maharaj, like that, based on this verse from Bhagavad Gita that says, whatever we remember at the time of death, we achieve that at the end, in the next life, like that. So then, but somebody may think, oh, I will do whatever I want right now, but at the end of the life, I will remember Krishna. Then I will go back to Krishna, like this. Somebody may think. So this was to underscore the point that I just don't need to understand knowledge, but I need to practice it, apply that knowledge in my life. That is what helps me to remember Krishna constantly, and at the time of death also, like that. And then this is talking about when we transcendently observed in ourselves in the service of Krishna, then we can achieve the spiritual body next life. And one of the best ways to do that is by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That way, we're ensured of next life, which is spiritual body, like that. Not another material body again, like that. And then another section, last section we talked about is details of the law of karma and how we can work properly in the right mood, like that. So in this section, so we covered this earlier also. Based on the desires and based on the karma we do, our next destination is determined. And then we talked about the principle of akarma, how by doing akarma, we're not only avoiding the future karma, but also burning of the old karma, like that. And we talked about the ABCD principle. You will hear more about this in next class also, because it's such a foundational principle and important principle. We saw the role of good association and role of reading scriptures, role of chanting or meditation of the holy name of the Supreme Lord, and eating the proper diet by offering to Krishna first, and vegetarian food, and then accepting it, and then by engaging in service to the Supreme Lord in different ways. Like these in this picture, you're seeing they're engaging in service by singing kirtan for the Lord and for pleasure of others, like that. So these are the different ways we can engage in spiritual activities that elevate our consciousness, that elevate our remembrance of Krishna also, like that. So those are a few things we discussed. And then we also discussed about why can't the material objects make us happy? What is wrong with them? So then we discussed about these are the nature of material happiness, because it's changeable and perishable, and it's duality. This world is full of duality, and they're relative. I have detailed slides for this. I thought this is important slides, so we'll go through them briefly. Basically, material pleasures stop after some time. I cannot keep on eating gulab jamun after eating 20 gulab jamuns or 30 gulab jamuns, like that. So there's a uh, we cannot continue material pleasure for a long time, like that. And then we get bored after some time. It's not new, like chewing gum example. And then we get a limited material pleasure is limited because I cannot eat more than what my capacity allows in the stomach, like that. So there's a temporary and uh, perishable. That means they go away after some time. I don't like gulab jamuns anymore. I will like ice cream, like that. And then this is the principle of duality. Material world is full of dualities. That means we discuss the examples of somebody wants to get married to be happy, but after married they'll get other problems, like that. Somebody wants to get a big house to be happy, but then after getting a house they'll get different problems with that. Like that, dualities are there in material world, but not in the spiritual world we discussed. And the same thing, all world things are relative. Relative means for now I want a bike like this, but then after getting this bike I want a better bike, like that. So like that is relative. We're always chasing after temporary happiness, like that. On contrast to this, oh, it went out of the slideshow. Let me go to the last slide I had. Okay. Oh, I didn't keep the last slide, looks like. No problem. Basically, the idea was, the last slide idea was, how when we engage with Krishna, when we engage with spirituality, when we engage in devotional service, how that doesn't have these three characteristics. It doesn't change. It's eternally our constitutional position. How when you go back to spiritual world, there's no duality of happiness and distress. We can always be happy. And because that happiness we get in engaging service of Lord is our constitutional position, then we're not looking for something else again like that. It's not relative. It's absolute happiness. We're happy with that. So that's the other idea with that. So that's the recap of the last sessions. I want to pause here in case somebody has any comments, questions before I go to the today's session, which is focused on the aim of life. Any comments, question, anyone?
Hare Krishna, Vibhu. This
Hare
is
Krishna.
Sangeeta. I
Yes.
have a question. So this is regarding the sanction, desire sanction.
Mm.
So is there some like a principle? Because if like for example, thief desiring, he wants to steal, so God will sanction his desire also. And if a good person desire that, okay, I will serve the Lord or I'll get some offer to Lord, God will sanction the devotee's desire also. So, what is the principle behind, he's desiring, he's fulfilling the desire for both. So, is
Yeah.
there any principle around that, or I'm just trying to understand what is the
Very nice question. Yeah, this is important question. It's a nice paradox that devotees try to resolve about this. And this question is asked in different ways. One question the way is asked is, why is there bad in the world when God is in control? There is another way the same question is asked. But the way you are asking is, why is God fulfilling the desire of a thief and also good desire of a devotee like that? So the principle is, there are a couple of principles around this. One principle is, etamam prapasyante. That means whatever the way we approach the Lord, in that way God reciprocates. That is one principle in it. Second principle is, we all have a free will that God doesn't take away. Those are the two important principles. And the third principle is, uh, just because I desire, God doesn't have to sanction. There's a principle of deserving also. So these are the three important principles. When we understand these three, then we'll be at peace with understanding, wow, God is amazing like that. So basically, I'll go through one at a time. So essentially, one principle is that each of us has free will. We talked about in the last session a little bit also on this topic, that we each of us has a free will, and God allows us to use the free will to come to Him, not that He forces us to come to Him like that. So that is one important principle. So that is the reason He doesn't interfere with the thief's free will of, I want to cheat, I want to steal like that. One principle. So another principle around that actually is, if the thief, if let us say I stole 500 times in the past, then 501 time I don't have to think to steal. I'll be naturally inclined to steal like that. That is my conditioning based on law of karma. So that is another principle to follow, to remember. Now, even though God wants to give us the opportunity to not steal by giving us $1 million, still after getting $1 million, I'll still have the propensity to steal unless I engage in devotional service to purify my heart like that. That is one aspect. So we talked about free will portion, and we talked about the karmic tendencies in the past will influence my what I'm desiring now also, what I'm desiring and what I am inclined to do like that also. So then another aspect is, just because I'm desiring, if I don't have pious credits, I don't get it right away. For example, the common example given is like, for example, somebody wants a son. To get a son, you need to have a lot of pious credits. Otherwise, so God will understand the desire. But until you get the piety, accrue the piety, you will not get the son like that, for example. That is another aspect of it. So like that, deserve and desire principle also is there. And then another aspect is, uh, even though he is fulfilling the desire of the thieves to steal, he will arrange the situation in such a way, somebody who stole previously, their money is stolen now. So not somebody who's nice all the time, all the previous lives, their money is not stolen now. Somebody who stole in the past life, for example, their money is stolen now. Or somebody caused distress to somebody else in the past life or this life, they will be put in distress because of this thief now, like that. So law of karma is very, very intricate, and Lord is wonderful designer. But why is he doing all these things? Ultimately, to help this thief understand also that actually by stealing I'm going through misery, either by police or by karma. So ultimately they'll get to point that, oh, this is not good. I need to go to better position, better way to deal with it. I need to start to listen to scriptures, start to understand scriptures, start to follow what Brahmanas are telling me to do. Like that, ultimately, it's a matter of rectification, not a punishment like that. So there's a few principles around this, Mate. Make sense to you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh,
Thank you very
sure.
much.
Welcome, Mate. Anyone else has any comments, questions? If not, I'll go to the next session, today's session then. Okay, thank you. So let's go to the next session then. Let me share that slide deck. Okay, good. Okay, we talked about this. So essentially today's topic and next week topic will be aim of life. How this material world is not all in all. There's a spiritual world that exists. And what is the beauty of spiritual world, like that we'll get to that topic. So in exploring this topic, we'll first think about attraction principle. What is attractive this in this world for us, and why is it attractive to us? Like that, we'll talk about that first portion. So it's a simple section, but a valuable section to understand. So these are the three broad topics. There are subtopics also we'll cover in the next session. But three broad topics is attraction principle, and then how Supreme Lord is the boss and we're the soul as das or servant, like that. And what is the dharma of the soul? What is the constitutional position of the souls, which is the loving service that makes us very really happy, permanently, eternally, like that. So we'll focus on the whatever we can this time, and then we'll continue in the next session. So attraction principle. So essentially, what are we getting attracted to in the material world? Who attracts us in the material world? Any ideas who attracts us in the material world? Your thoughts?
The opulences of probably different people, or their wealth, their beauty, their strength, their power, post, position.
Perfect. Thank you, bro. So everyone is attracted to someone beautiful, someone strong, somebody wealthy, like that. Different opulences, like Prabhuji described. So, but why we are attracted to them? Because these are all originally part of the Supreme Lord's opulences. And because we are part and parcel of Supreme Lord, and we see that opulence in others, and we are attracted to them also, like that. So that is the reason for us getting attracted to others who are rich or who are strong or who are beautiful, who are knowledgeable, like that. So because they're part of Supreme Lord's opulences, like that. So coming to Supreme Lord's opulences, there's a word Bhagavan that Parashar Muni defines it. And that Bhagavan word means, there's another slide also coming up in more detail. Basically, Bhagavan means one who is in full on all these six opulences. Not little bit of beauty, little bit of wealth. In this world, we might see somebody very beautiful but very poor. Somebody very knowledgeable but very poor. Somebody very knowledgeable but ugly, like that. We can see different things. But God is a person who has all of these things, number one, and all of this in full also, not in a limited quantity, like that. Because he has all of these in full, he becomes most attractive to for us, actually. So in fact, when we're hearing or reading from scriptures, we're understanding the nature of the God in terms of these opulences that he has. Then we get attracted to him. Otherwise, we don't have anything. We have already love whatever we have right now here. We don't have any extra attraction to the Lord, like that. But now, remember the previous slide we talked about how each of us has certain of the opulence that makes us attractive. the reason we are attractive in some way, because we are possessing some of the opulence of the Supreme Lord in a part, because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, like that. That's why in quality we're same like Supreme Lord, but quantity we have very minute opulence, like that. We have little beauty. Krishna is supremely beautiful. We have little wealth, but Krishna has all the wealth of the world, like that. So that's the reason for our attractiveness and the Bhagwan. So this is the definition of the word Bhagwan in a little bit more detail. How Bhagwan word is used in Bhagavad Gita so many times, in Srimad Bhagavatam so many times, and generally the one word is utilized like this: Lakpati. Somebody who has a lot of money, we'll call them Lakpati. Somebody who has a lot of crores of money, we call Karorpati, like that, right? And Arabpati, and then Lakshmipati, somebody who has a lot of Lakshmi, has lakhs or crores or whatever, it's Lakshmipati. Similarly, one means somebody who possesses. What he possesses? If he possesses opulence, that Bhagwan means somebody possesses all opulences, like that. All the 6 opulences in full. So here are the examples of somebody who's beautiful, somebody who's wealthy, somebody who's very knowledgeable in terms of scientists, somebody who's very strong, and somebody who's famous, somebody who's renunciate, like Sri Ramanujacharya here and 6 Goswamis here, like that. These are the different opulences that make them attractive. But Supreme Lord is one who has all these opulences in full. That makes us supremely attractive. So here's the example of a tree that's reflecting in the water. So similarly, whatever opulences we see in the material world indicate that there's a real opulence in the spiritual world. Like how if reflection is there, indicates that the real tree is there, like that. Similarly, we see this minute opulences in the people in the material world, or in the material world creation itself. Then we understand there's a real opulence somewhere in the spiritual world. Just reflection, like that. Real opulence is from Krishna, like that. So Krishna is supremely beautiful, and Krishna is the owner of all the wealth here in the whole world, like that. So Krishna is supremely knowledgeable. Whatever he taught Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that we are studying even till today, and will keep on, is the essence of whole Vedic knowledge. And Krishna himself gave the knowledge to original knowledge of Vedas to Lord Brahma in the beginning of creation, like that. And then he's the strength. You see here, the 2 examples shown here are Krishna lifted with his pinky figure, entire Govardhan hill, like that. Entire hill, not one small book or one paper, like that. And then he's killing here Dhenukasura demon here. Krishna and Balram are killing Dhenukasura demons here. And then Krishna is famous. Even now, so many people know about Krishna. Not any ordinary rich person, only few people will know. But Krishna, so many people know. He's famous not only in this world, but across all the other universe, other planets in the universe also. And then renunciation. Krishna, even though he has so much wealth, all these great opulences, but still his quality of renunciation is shown in these 2 examples. See, he's serving his father by bringing him his shoes. If serving a Brahmana and his friend also by washing his feet. Another example of renunciation given is when it was time for Krishna to go from Vrindavan to Mathura, he did not hesitate to leave the gopis' wonderful association, to leave the Vrajavasi's wonderful association. He did not hesitate. That is the quality of renunciation of Supreme Lord, like that. These are the 6 opulences in full that Bhagavan has. And those are minutely reflected in material world in different ways for us. So this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. Yad yad vibhuti mats 10th chapter, sorry, Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. Yad yad vibhuti matsatvam srimad urjitam evava tattad evava gachatvam mama tejomsa sambhavam. Amsa, tejomsa, this is the important portion. The translation: know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring but a spark of my splendor. Whatever beautiful we see, understand that just a small spark of Krishna's opulence, like that. That's what Krishna personally is telling in Bhagavad Gita, like that. So that's the first section we covered. which is the attraction principle or attractive principle. Yeah. And we'll go into the second section. It's 10:50. We could cover the second section also, at least somewhat, some part of it, or fully we'll try. So this is section about boss and das. Boss means who is a master, and das means servant, like that, right? That is the second section we'll cover now. So here, one second, let me hide the panel. Meeting. Okay, good. So this section is talking about the importance of service to the Supreme Lord. Like that. See, this picture is showing in how in Vaikuntha Loka, all the different devotees are engaged in the service to Supreme Lord in different ways. God is the Supreme Person, and all the souls are His eternal servants, like that. That is our constitutional position. Our constitutional position is of service. That is what makes us happy, like that. So here, let me go to. So when the parts, so in the material world, first we'll see the examples of how when we do some service in the material world to different personalities, different masters, how do we get benefit? And then we'll contrast with the service to Supreme Lord also. So for example, if students follow the rules given by principal, what are they getting? They're getting proper education, training, and a qualified degree at the end of the studies, like that. Similarly, if these employees or staff members of a company are serving a CEO, what do they get? They get salary at the end of the month. They get different benefits or perks and different kinds of facilities they get from the company, like that. Similarly, citizens, when they follow the laws made by the Prime Minister, who is the ruler of the country, then what is the benefit they get? They get social facilities to live properly, peacefully, like that, and they get welfare benefits from the government, like that. So that's what is happening in the material world. So similarly, what is the benefit of serving the Supreme Lord? We're all part and parcel of Supreme Lord, Krishna. So when we offer service to Supreme Lord as spirit souls, then actually we receive eternal happiness. So not temporary happiness or temporary solution for all the problems we discuss in the material world, but we get eternal happiness and we get to go back to spiritual world, which is free of dualities, free of this mundane happiness, but we get spiritual eternal happiness all the time there. And not only that, that happiness keeps on growing, it seems. So this is meant to be an activity. You can maybe the way we can do it is we can do it in interactive way. The idea was to some divine qualities and demonic qualities we can come up with, and then we can also indicate some example from Shastra, who is divine, who is demoniac, like that. Yeah. Hope you remember. Hope you understand what the divine means, demonic means. Let us see. Any comments? Anybody has some ideas, examples they can give of some divine qualities first?
Helping others in need. So yesterday I
Ah,
was watching Bhopal incident documentary. It
ah,
was so breath, yeah. So but there were so many people who came together, even though the air quality was bad, right? Just
mm,
to save other lives.
mm. Yeah, being kind to others. Yeah, wonderful, Mati. Thank you for sharing that. Being kind to others and helping others. Yeah. Anybody else can think about any other divine qualities?
Prabhuji, humble to everybody.
Ah, being humble. Yes, wonderful. That's a good. Yeah, that way we can also respect everybody also. Yes. Anything else? Any other divine qualities you can think about? Generally, it is easier to think about demonic qualities. Let us see. Any examples of demonic qualities?
Anger,
Prabhuji, charity,
Uh, Pardon?
anger
charity.
and criticism.
Anger and criticism, and somebody saying charity is a divine quality. Yeah, very good. Yeah, anger and criticism. Perfect. Nice. Any other examples of demonic qualities?
Greed.
Greed. Yeah, perfect example. Yes. Greed. Wanting to accumulate
Cheating
more and more.
others.
Cheating others. Exactly. Wonderful. Yes. Those are all demonic qualities. Yes. Any other examples?
Anger.
Anger. Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. Let me share my screen again. Oh, how do you go back to
Laziness.
laziness? Is a, yeah, it could be considered, it can lead to demoniac qualities. Yes, correct. Because it's mode of ignorance. It can lead to
Yeah.
demoniac quality. Yes. Where are we? Let me go to that particular slide and make it a slideshow. Yeah, here we are. So here are some examples. Demoniac people, they rebel against God's laws. Divine people obey God's law. In fact, this is the main definition of who is divine, who is demoniac, who is a sura or a devotee, who is a demon or asura. In Bhagavad Gita also it describes this is the main principle definition. And like you all described, selfishly consider about one's own gratification and greed also. Oh God. Okay. 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 Selfless service to God and others, like you described. I'm a self-made man. That means they don't recognize the God's contribution in our life. That means I got this job of my own greatness. I got this all this money because of my own hard work. They don't recognize God's sanctioning in their life like that. But divine people, they understand God's grace in our life and they become grateful to God like that. And then they follow only the temporary, contemporary life principles we discussed in the last session. Just enjoy, eat, drink, and be merry. Nothing else. There is no next life, nothing. But then divine people, they're conscious. I don't want to do sin. I don't want to cause any problems for my next life like that. One example here is Duryodhana. Example here is Yudhishthira Maharaj from Mahabharata, right? So somebody may have a doubt. Is God some impersonal light or energy? That's the question we'll explore. Or is really a person like this? So that is a question we'll explore. So here with the material examples, so the Microsoft company has wonderful managed organized operations around the world and everything like that. But behind that all, there's a person running and managing it like that. So of course he passed away. There's a new CEO now, right? So, but there is a person. There is a principle is that there is a person. It's not just right running automatically like that. Let me see. I was saying some security thing. Okay, let me. Oh, good. Okay, and similarly, a country is governed by the elected party and the whole government is there. But ultimately, there's a head for that government. In India, it's the prime minister who's heading the government like that. So, even though government itself looks impersonal, but behind this, there's a person like that. That is the idea being shared there. And similarly, the gigantic universe is running with a perfect organization and control, like we discussed in the second session. How there's so much organization and design, intelligent design behind everything. But there should be a person behind this gigantic manifestations also. And who is that? That is the Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So he says, I'm the source of all spiritual and material worlds. That means he's the source of everything creation. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this, what do? They engage in my devotion service and worship me with all their hearts. Just knowing, I know Krishna is the source, that's not enough. We need to serve him like that. And here, Krishna is describing the spiritual world that is beyond this material world. The supreme abode of mind is not illumined by sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach the spiritual world will never come to the material world. So this should become our aim of life. We should go back to spiritual world, not stay in the material world that and have all those problems we discussed in the session number 3: birth, death, old age, disease, and then four miseries. Or they're all not there in the spiritual world like that. In the beginning of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was under stress because he was depending on his own ideas of becoming happy without consulting Lord Sri Krishna. But then later, that is why he got all these problems. All these symptoms were described in the chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna body was trembling. He doesn't know what to do. He could not decide what to do like that. But then, because Arjuna was a friend and devotee of Krishna, that Arjuna realized, oh, Krishna is my only shelter. Krishna can give me the solution like that. So he surrendered to Krishna. He prayed to Krishna and sought guidance from Krishna. Then, but Krishna is well-wisher of everybody. So, Krishna is happy to help Arjuna. So, Krishna gave the guidance to Arjuna, and Arjuna took the Krishna's guidance to the heart, and Arjuna achieved victory and happiness like that. So, Krishna told Arjuna to surrender to him only. And he said, by doing so, one can become free of all sufferings and ultimately attain the spiritual world. So, this is the verse from Bhagavad Gita that Sanjay is speaking to Dhritarashtra. Wherever Krishna is there, wherever Arjuna is there, there will always be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. So, by following Krishna's direction, we can also go to the spiritual world like that. So, even though Pandavas were only 5, Kauravas were 100, but Pandavas won the battle. Why? Because of the Krishna factor. Because they followed Dharma and they took shelter of Krishna. Krishna was there on their side. And then, so similarly, if we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna ourselves, our life also will be successful. Lord Krishna is Bhaktavasa, is the protector of all the devotees. When we pray to Krishna, he gives shelter to us. So the blessings to us. So this example in the picture is Draupadi called out to Krishna and Krishna came to help and offer protection. We'll start in the next section from this section. What is Sanatana Dharma? So the third big section of Dharma portion will start there in next session. I want to pause here for any comments or reflections. What did you learn today? Anything you liked from today's learning? Any insight you got? Anything you want to apply in your life? Like that, think about it like that. And then share anything you might have. It's your time. Or if you have any questions also, you can ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So I'm just thinking, how deep this sentence, because we all are part, we as in all living beings,
Mm,
which includes an ant to the human being. They are all parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord.
mm,
And everyone has, some percent of all the six opulence, right? This
mm,
is really deep. I mean, when someone think of it, it's just, the mind gets like, what is this? It's
mm,
amazing. It's
mm.
just amazing feeling.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a actually our devotee practicing life is primarily centered around understanding that how everybody is connected to Krishna, how in everyone's heart there is Krishna, and whatever the opulences they have, they're coming from Krishna. When we understand that, we become grateful to everybody, we become respectful to everybody, and then we treat everybody nicely, and we serve each other nicely like that. Yeah, that's the important principle you shared,
Very
like
deep.
that. What are we learning like this? We need to contemplate on them to practically apply in our life. Mm.
Yes,
Nice,
Prabhu.
Mother. Any other comments, questions? Yeah, if not, we can continue in the next session. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhesha kupa sindhu bevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, everyone. See you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.